are the best controller settings for this season of Fortnite. If your sense is too slow, too fast, or you just don't like it, you came to the right place. With these settings, you'll be piece controlling, aimbotting, and winning in no time. Just make sure you subscribe. With these being my best settings, we're running through everything with explanation. So first of all, I play on PC and I play on performance mode. My brightness, colorblind, resolution, it's all just default. And in this first tab, there's not a ton going on. Over one to the game tab. Toggle sprint you want on, so you can just click it instead of holding on to it to sprint. Auto open doors I like on. Hold to swap pickup is nice, but what's really important over here is preferred item slot. For controller players, you basically always want your slot 1 to be your shotgun. It's your most important gun, so it's the fastest to get to. Then I go SMG to the right of that. I go 2 heals, and then I go my AR all the way at the end. That way I can go straight from a shotgun right over to my SMG, or I can go shotgun straight over to my AR, which is a grappler right now. So make sure to set all those. Then these are 4 pretty important settings all in a row. Reset building choice I like on. That means even if I'm on stairs and I go out of my switch, but once I go back to my switch mode, I'm automatically on wall. And walls are the most important build in the game. Disable pre-edit. No one on controller uses pre-edit. Turbo building you definitely need on. And then auto confirm edits is on both. So this means to edit, all I have to do is click my edit bind, and then I click my select. And as soon as I let go of my select, it automatically confirms. Then to reset, I just click my edit bind, and then I just click my 1 reset bind, and it automatically resets. This will allow you to edit and reset super fast. Then the rest of these are basically all just extra stuff. I think the only setting that even matters over here is to have tap to search and interact turned on. Then one tab over to the game UI. You'll definitely want reticle on, but then the rest of these 4 are all just preference, whatever you want to put them on. Your HUD scale, completely preference. The rest of these you want to leave basically all of them on. The only 2 that I have off are latency debug stats and creative runtime performance stats. One tab over from that will be the gyro option. And although these can be fun to kind of move around your controller and control your aim like that, it's not practical, and if you want to be good at the game, you should not use it. So if you just turn gyro aiming off, that's the only thing you need to do. Mouse and keyboard settings don't matter unless you play mouse and keyboard. And one tab over from this are the controller options, which are the most important settings in this video. Now for these settings, I have controller auto run turned off. I just always turn auto run on by accident and it messes me up, so I just have it turned off. Build immediately you need turned on. That makes it so when you're switching your build pieces, you don't have to double click to place it. Like imagine if I had to double click to place all these builds, I'd never be able to do it. So that's why that's important. Edit hold time shouldn't matter for you, because over here in your binds, you should have a bind that's only set to edit. So one of these buttons, whichever one is your edit, it shouldn't look like this where it has switch mode / edit. You need to make sure you click on it and go up here to where it says only edit. Once you do that, the edit hold time doesn't affect your gameplay at all. Now for slide hold time this season, there's a glitch with the mud, where if you have the mud applied and you just spam your slide button, you slide really far, really fast. So if you want to be able to do that, your slide hold time has to be basically all the way down. And then we have the reset camera access and the reset camera time. Most players set this to pitch and then 0.1. Well, honestly, I've tried some pro settings where they set it to both, and I've never noticed a difference. I've never messed with the reset camera time, and I don't think it's a good idea to. You should definitely keep that at 0.1. The only other setting in this little section is vibration. Even though vibration is kind of cool, you get like feedback from the game, you get a feel of vibration when you shoot your gun. It's actually bad for your aim. If you think about it, if your controller is vibrating a little bit while you're shooting, it can just barely throw off your aim. It's probably not by much, but it's enough where all the good players turn vibration off. Now the next thing is you need to make sure you have use advanced options turned on. Then you're gonna get the build and edit multiplier, which I set both of these to 2. Now even if you know a lot about your settings, you might not know that these are only multipliers of your look sensitivity. So watch this, this is crazy. I can turn both of these all the way up as far as it can go, 5.0. You'd think that'd make your build and edit sense insanely fast, but because this is only a 1% look sense, if I come in here and go to build, it's so incredibly slow. Because of that, you have to adjust your build and edit multiplier based on what your look sense is. So that means we're gonna set both of our horizontal and vertical look sense to 43%, and we're gonna add just a tiny bit of boost on turning horizontal and turning vertical boost. So the total look sense looks like this. And when you pair the look sense with the build and edit multiplier, that's gonna make your build and edit look something like this, which is just the perfect speed in my opinion. It's not crazy fast to the point where you're gonna be flashy, spinning around, doing 360s and stuff. But what it's gonna allow you to do is be super consistent and rarely mess up builds and edits. This is especially key for piece control. This way you're gonna be able to hit the difficult builds and edits that are needed to do proper piece control. And another thing about this specific look sense is that it's not only used when you're like running around just looking around the map. If you think about your gameplay, most of your fights end up getting close range, and in close range fights you're not aiming down sight to take your shot. You're gonna pop up, take a little shot, build a little little bit, go, take another shot. All those shotgun shots are using that 43% look sense to actually aim. So that's why this can't be too slow and it can't be too fast either. And right around 43% is pretty much the standard that all good controller players use. Then for the shots where you do ADS, we have this ADS sense that I love. It's 7% on ADS horizontal and 9%, just 2% higher on ADS vertical. These 1% boosts really don't matter, but I think they might affect it a tiny bit. Now here's the reason that the vertical is slightly higher than the horizontal. When you're ADSing to shoot someone, they're more than likely always going to be running or sprinting, and you're just going to be tracking them just like this across the ground. Sometimes they might be gliding and then they're going a little faster, but no matter what they're doing, if they're traveling horizontally, then 7% is fast enough to track them. Now on the other hand, you have vertical movement, and in Fortnite, vertical movement is way faster than horizontal. Players move up and down fast when they jump. They move up and down really fast off of like launch pads or shockwave grenades. Because players move faster up and down than they do left to right, the up and down sensitivity needs to be just slightly higher, and that's why our vertical up and down sense is 9% versus only 7% that's left to right horizontal. Then we get to look damage time, and honestly, since boosts and stuff came out, look damage time is just not necessary. It's basically just there to make your settings more complicated. Like, no one uses this. And that's gonna bring us to the look input curve, which if you're using these exact settings in this tab, then you have to use linear. If I set this over to exponential, it's gonna make my settings so much worse. What exponential does is basically just kind of slows down your gameplay. It makes it so your long range aim can be really good. But honestly, at this stage of Fortnite, you rarely even use your long range aim. Most of the time, if you see someone, you're just gonna push up on them and fight them close range with your shotgun. So exponential paired with the right settings can make your aim better. Like, I think my favorite exponential settings I ever tried were from this video where I tried Foxman settings. And with exponential settings like that, it can make your aim a little better. But to me, it's just not satisfying at all. It's way more choppy, and honestly, it sometimes gives me a headache to play on exponential. All your movements are just like straight line blocky instead of being smooth. So on linear, as long as our sensitivities aren't too high, which they're not at all, then you can still easily control it while at the same time still having good builds and edits and satisfying movement. Then just a little bit lower than that is the controller dead zone. This is a setting that varies depending on your controller. 10% on both left and right stick works well for pretty much all of my controllers that I have, and I have a lot of them. But for a couple of my controllers, I have to turn it up more to make sure I don't get stick drift. The cool thing is you can actually test it with this little dead zone counter over here. To test it, you want to hover over this left stick dead zone right here, and then you just want to slightly move your left stick a couple times. If at any point when you let go of your left stick and the yellow stays there, then that just means your sticks are sticking a little bit and you'll have stick drift. To make sure you don't get stick drift, you'll just want to turn this up until this darker inner circle is bigger than the yellow circle. But if you can move your stick all around and you let go and you see absolutely nothing in the center of that dark circle, then that means your sticks are perfect and you can just set this to 10% what I have it on. And after you do that on your left stick, you'll want to go down one and do the same thing over on your right stick. Then down here, I guess they drop a couple of these random settings. You can just copy those. They don't really matter that much. One more tab over will put you in the audio. I have my sound quality set to high. I don't like 3D headphones. I think it sounds weird. I do have visualized sound effects turned on. This is a key thing for awareness, especially if you don't have the loudest headset. And even if you do have the loudest headset, this is a super good headset. And I still have it on because if people are walking near you or shooting in the distance, even if you can't hear it in your headset, you'll get visuals that'll literally show you where they are. It's actually such a good setting. Like, literally every single pro player uses this. So definitely turn that on. And then the rest of these are all just personal preference, random voice chat stuff. Now, one tab over from that will be the keyboard and mouse binds. Again, don't need those unless you play keyboard and mouse. But one tab over from that will be the controller bind. These are my controller binds, but these binds only work if you use a controller that has 4 paddles on it. The best binds for you completely change depending on so many things. For example, some players like me play 4 paddles. Some other players play 2 paddles. Some other players play no paddles, and they'll actually play claw. And then players that do play claw, some of them only play right claw, some of them only play left claw, some of them use an Xbox controller, some of them use a PlayStation controller, some of them don't play claw or paddles. And for every single type of player that I just named right there, they have a different set of binds that's gonna work best for them. I actually made this video a little while ago that goes very in depth on the best binds for every single player. So if you're curious about the best binds for you personally and you don't play 4 paddles like I do, then you'll definitely want to go watch that video. But for my 4 paddle players or the players that are just curious, my binds are gonna look like this. And then with these 4 extra back buttons that I have, I use this bottom left one to sprint, I use this top left one to jump, I use this bottom right one to pull out my pickaxe, and I use this top right one to edit. So that's why I'm able to do stuff like edit and go and side jump and do all this crazy stuff, because I never have to take my thumbs off the stick. Like, if I didn't have paddles, this is what I'd look like trying to play. It'd be so bad. And that's exactly why these binds are not for you if you don't play 4 paddles. And then over over to the very last tab, literally none of this matters. This stuff is just all personal preference. Now let's put together one high kill game so I can prove to you guys how good these settings can be. Little shatter drop for the potentially high kill game. Bang and bang. Bang, there we go. Hello? Whoa, my flapjack's out of bullets. Never want the flapjack to be out of bullets. Let's go with some really good shots actually right now. Oh my, yeah, you do not want to aim challenge me right now. Bang, full box, let's go. Wait. Oh my, I almost died to him because he had this slurp. Oh my. Now this guy's gatekeeping. Whoa, I did not even mean to do that. Oh my god, what a final play. These settings are fire. Make sure to download the Z League app with the link in the description. And thank you so much for watching.